In the early 2000s, a mobile phone was more than just a communication device. It was becoming the most personal piece of technology people owned. And if you had a phone back then, chances were overwhelming that it was a Nokia. Not a smartphone. Not a gadget. Just a phone, and Nokia defined what that word meant. In the year 2000, Nokia sold more than 126 million mobile phones worldwide. By 2003, sales had grown beyond 180 million. In 2006, the number reached roughly 345 million. And in 2007, Nokia sold over 440 million phones in a single year. That meant something almost impossible today. Nearly every second phone sold on Earth was made by Nokia. At its peak in 2007, Nokia controlled around 39 to 40% of the global mobile phone market. In some regions, Europe, India, Africa, and parts of the Middle East, its market share exceeded 50%. Motorola held about 14%. Samsung less than 10%. Sony Ericsson around 9%. And Apple, which had just introduced the iPhone, had under 3%. That same year, the Nokia brand was valued at over $250 billion, making it the most valuable brand in Europe and one of the top 5 most valuable brands in the world. In Finland, Nokia was not just a company. It accounted for up to 4% of the country's GDP, nearly a quarter of all corporate tax revenue, and close to 20% of national exports. For an entire nation, Nokia was a pillar of economic stability. For hundreds of millions of people, the word phone meant one thing: Nokia. And it is precisely at this moment of absolute dominance that Nokia's decline begins. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Nokia was not a young or inexperienced company. Its story began in 1865 as a paper mill in Finland. Over decades, it expanded into rubber products, cables, electronics, and even military technology. By the late 20th century, Nokia was a sprawling industrial conglomerate. In the early 1990s, the company nearly collapsed financially. Its survival came from a bold decision: abandon most businesses and focus almost entirely on telecommunications. That gamble paid off spectacularly. In 1998, Nokia became the world's largest mobile phone manufacturer, overtaking Motorola. Throughout the 2000s, Nokia did not follow the market, it shaped it. Phone designs, antennas, battery life, GSM standards, user interfaces, even ringtones were influenced by Nokia's decisions. The legendary Nokia 3310, which sold more than 126 million units, became a symbol of durability and reliability, one of the most successful consumer electronics products ever made. But success at this scale created a dangerous sense of certainty. By the mid-2000s, Nokia employed more than 130,000 people worldwide. Its internal structure had become complex, fragmented, and slow. Departments competed with one another. Decision-making stretched across layers of management. At the heart of everything was Symbian, Nokia's operating system. In 2006 and 2007, Symbian powered more than 60% of all smartphones globally and seemed unassailable. Yet Symbian was built for a different era. It was designed in the 1990s for keypad phones, small screens, and limited applications. Over time, its codebase became increasingly complex, patched rather than rebuilt. Inside Nokia, engineers knew the truth. Internal reports as early as 2004 and 2005 warned that Symbian's architecture could not properly support touch interfaces, modern web browsing, or rich applications. But abandoning Symbian would have meant destroying the foundation of Nokia's entire business: hundreds of phone models, billions in carrier agreements, and stable short-term profits. So Nokia chose evolution over reinvention. In 2007, Apple unveiled the iPhone. To the outside world, it looked like a revolution. Inside Nokia, it did not. The iPhone seemed expensive, impractical, and incomplete. No physical keyboard. No removable battery. Limited customization. Executives believed it was a niche product, unsuitable for mass markets or enterprise users. And the numbers appeared to support that belief. In 2007, Nokia sold over 430 million phones. Apple sold roughly 6 million iPhones. The data felt reassuring, but it was misleading. Apple was not selling a phone, it was selling an ecosystem. In 2008, Apple launched the App Store. Within its first year, users downloaded more than 1 billion apps. At the same time, Google introduced Android, an open and free platform that quickly attracted Samsung, HTC, LG, and Motorola. The smartphone market did not change gradually. It changed structurally. By 2010, iOS and Android dominated new smartphone sales. Nokia, meanwhile, continued trying to modernize Symbian, a system never designed for this new reality. Inside the company, fear spread. Managers avoided delivering bad news. Teams worked in isolation. Innovation slowed. In 2010 alone, Nokia released more than 50 different phone models, while Apple focused on one and Samsung concentrated on a handful of core devices. Speed and focus were lost. In 2011, Nokia's new CEO, Stephen Alop, sent an internal memo that became famous as the Burning Platform speech. He admitted the company was standing on a platform that was on fire and that doing nothing would guarantee failure. Nokia abandoned Symbian and bet everything on Windows Phone, partnering with Microsoft. The move appeared bold, but it was too late. By then, iOS and Android had already locked in developers, users, and ecosystems. A third platform had no compelling reason to exist. Between 2011 and 2012, Nokia's smartphone market share collapsed from over 20% to less than 5%. Losses mounted into the billions. The company's stock price fell more than 80% from its 2007 peak. In 2013, Nokia sold its mobile phone business to Microsoft for $7.2 billion, a fraction of the value it once commanded. Microsoft would later abandon the effort entirely, and Windows Phone would disappear from the market. Nokia survived, but not as a consumer brand. It returned to its roots in telecommunications infrastructure, networks, patents, and 5G technology, becoming a major global supplier for mobile operators. The era of Nokia as the king of the mobile world was over. This is not a story of stupidity or ignorance, it is a story of scale. A company that saw the future, understood the threat, and analyzed the numbers, but was too large, too successful, and too slow to let go of the past that once made it great. Sometimes the very strength that build an empire become the forces that bring it down. Nokia did not lose because it failed to see the future. It lost because it stayed too long in a past that had already stopped existing.